everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Spring Washam. I'm an author, teacher, healer, and I'm making this video series on my book called A Fierce Heart, Finding Strength, Courage, and Wisdom in Any Moment. So welcome to Wisdom Teaching number 5, and this chapter is very near and dear to my heart. I know I say this all the time, but it is with each chapter. It's called Remember Who You Are, and I feel very happy to talk about this today. This is such a key piece, remembering who we are, our goodness, our power, our truth, our hearts, our love. This is something that can never be stolen. However, it can be forgotten for periods of time, right? We forget our true nature, we forget our values, we forget. So this is about that in this chapter. And I'd like to tell the story. First of all, one of my favorite quotes is in the chapter heading, and it's by a wise woman, and she says, 3 things cannot be hidden for long: the sun, the moon, and the truth. And the truth is, whatever we believe about ourselves in that moment. Underneath all of our illusions, all of our stories, all of our trauma, there's this beautiful seed in there. And that's what this is about. It's like that seed, and we have to water that seed, and only we can do that. So I tell the story in this chapter about going on this meditation retreat, and my first retreat, and I was falling apart. My whole life, was crashing down, as we have those moments, and it was about 20 years ago. And I was on the first retreat of my life. I didn't know how to meditate. I was crazy when I got there. I felt like I needed to go to a mental hospital. And so I get there, and it's the opening night, and they give a Dharma talk, and the person who came out on the stage to talk was Jack Kornfield. He ended up being a huge inspiration to me there and has been my mentor for 20 years. He even wrote the foreword to A Fierce Heart. And while I was sitting there, he started giving this talk, and he started telling stories, but he started saying the words of the Buddha over and over. He said, "Oh, nobly born, remember who you are. You are the sons and the daughters of the awakened one." And then he would say it again throughout the course of the night. And so as I sat there and I heard it, I just started weeping. It was like something inside of me was breaking. It was like, I remember. And I think that was key. I didn't understand fully what I was remembering, but it was like ancient, old things about leading a spiritual path and wanting to follow the good road, the high road, the yellow brick road, the road to freedom. And up until that moment, my life was anything but that. And so what that retreat did, what that evening did, was it helped me to remember my heart. Because this is really what we're doing. We're following the path of the heart. We're following the high path. We're following a path of truth and service and love. Because at the end of the day, that's where happiness is. It wasn't in the life of fear and hatred and judgment and tax. It's not that. It's remembering that inside is this goodness. And I love that about Buddhism, actually. I love all world religion, actually. But what I really love about the Buddhist perspective is that they say you're already enlightened, you just forgot. So your whole life, your whole journey is about remembering that. It's about remembering. And sometimes we remember when we hear a poem, or we see a film, or we meet a person and they reflect back who we are, and we get excited. We feel our power, and we start to feel that feeling of being home, right? Of being true. So this chapter is about letting go of all the masks that we wear, the images that we put on, and it's about listening on a deeper level, remembering who we are on a deeper level. Now, it can be really challenging to do that if you're a person of color, or you're LGBTQ, or you're trans, or you have a different ability body. It's hard to think of yourself, oh, I'm enlightened and I forgot. It's hard to see your goodness. So that has to be told over and over. It has to be sort of hammered in, right? Because everything is telling us that we're wrong, we're broken, we're bad, including ourselves. So we don't see ourselves the way we really are. So I remember a few years ago, I had this very, very powerful trip. It was my first time traveling around Asia, and I went to India on a pilgrimage. And I was traveling to all the holy sites, and I went to Bodh Gaya. Bodh Gaya is one of the holiest cities in India, in a state called Bihar. But it's also the most poor. So you have these two, again, these polarities, right? You have this amazing place, but Bihar, and especially Bodh Gaya, is filled with not only sick people and beggars, piles of trash, and then all of the animals are sick everywhere you look. So all these dogs and cats, everyone just feels like they're suffering. And then in the middle of that, you have this beautiful park where the bodhi tree is, where they say the Buddha got enlightened. And so thousands of pilgrims go there on their pilgrimages. And so I was one of those people. And I decided while I was there, I would do 1,000 prostrations. Now, prostrations are these bows that you do in the Tibetan tradition. You bow, and it's almost like you do a sun salutation. You touch the ground, your heart, your belly, everything touches the ground. And then you pull yourself up with your abs. And so thousands of people are in the park doing prostrations and bows and mantras and saying prayers. It's a really beautiful place to do meditation. It's a very charged place. And so I started doing all these prostrations. I started to do them one day, and I remember getting angry and feeling like, why am I doing this? What am I bowing to? Right? Over and over again I started, what am I bowing to? What am I bowing to? And the second day came and it was the same thing. What am I bowing to? What is sacred? Who am I? What is this? And I started seeing all the images of my childhood. Suddenly I found it. I started to bow to the goodness that I knew I had. Like, underneath it all, I have a good heart, right? I have a good heart, and I know it. And I started bowing to that. Started bowing to my own true nature. So you, my friends, have to start bowing to your own good heart, remembering that goodness, that you might have done many things in your life that were negative or hurtful, and people have done things to you that have been negative and hurtful, maybe abandoned, abused, all of these things. But we have to remember that we are more than that. That is just one chapter, and there are many chapters to go. So I want to thank you for tuning into this teaching. Remembering your heart, this is something you have to do. You're the only one who can remember. People can offer you steps, but it's up to you to walk. You have to go forward. You have to do this with your own loving heart. So, thank you for listening to this teaching, and if you like it, you can share it, and we will have more to come.